my friend Brad Fritsch, former PGA Tour player, who joins us now on the Adam Gold Show. We expect that Brady Tkachuk will be one of the first 6 players unveiled for Team USA. Maybe Jake Sanderson will also make the team. 2 of Ottawa's best players will be playing in the Olympics for the United States.
Yeah, I would think so. And maybe Linus Ullmark, maybe, although they didn't take him for the World Championships, and he seemed a little hurt, and he had harsh words. So he may have talked himself out of that one. I'm not sure.
Harsh words. Harsh words don't always help.
No, they don't. And you had harsh words. My boy Mike Weir caught a stray from you earlier today. Come on, man. Like, I had 8 tour wins, the Masters.
No. I'm just saying at the time. At the time, right? How many tour wins did Mike Weir have at the time of the Masters?
I think probably 4 or 5.
Okay, then
right.
that would be unfortunate for me to respond to take a shot at Mike Weir that way. Brad Fritsch is joining us here. Let's get into JJ Spaun. Just give me your overall thoughts on what we saw in the final round of the U.S. Open.
Well, I feel like I don't know if this is true or not, but I feel like it's been a while since there's been a kind of a war of attrition like we saw at Oakmont yesterday, where it wasn't, the short grass and the ball running off into, sandy areas like Pinehurst or, runoffs into chipping areas or long fescue grass like a Shinnecock will be next year. It's been a while since we've had, oh my God, look at this rough. And I feel like that was the original bones of the U.S. Open. I love that style. I think it puts a premium on driving the ball. And you saw guys coming down the stretch like they could not get the ball in the fairway.
Yeah.
On 14, although 14, I had to laugh. I mean, I've played Oakmont a few times, and guys are ripping 3-woods, and I think Adam Scott hit driver, and it's a short hole. And it was so windy and wet at the time that they were playing that hole. Balls were coming back, and they were having 180 yards into a 400-yard par 4. So, yeah, it was just kind of a crazy turn of events with the weather. I think the USGA and Oakmont would have preferred that it not rain like that, but there's an outstanding interview clip with Scotty Scheffler after his round. And they're like, what did you think of the weather, and did it mess you up? And he said, hey, outdoor sport. Like that's what
it is an outdoor sport.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do?
It's funny. I was listening to an interview on, I guess it was Sirius this morning as I was driving in. And Mark Canizaro's covered the sport for a long time. He's with the New York Post. And he was ripping the USGA for not identifying the best player, but, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically embarrassing them. And everything was really good until the weather turned, until it got soft. I didn't understand. I mean, it was always supposed to be hard. The rough was always supposed to be penal. The greens didn't change. The greens have always been incredibly fast and sloped at Oakmont. Did it seem tricked up to you?
No, I think the combination of how they wanted the rough early on in the week, plus the rain, the excessive rain on Sunday, really led to what you saw coming down the stretch. But again, guys were missing greens, like Sam Burns and Adam Scott on the 16th hole just massacred their tee shots, par 3, and I think it was Adam Scott couldn't get to the green with his second shot because his lie was so bad. Sometimes you have to step up and hit a good shot, or leave it in the right spot, which would be on that hole in the bunker. You can control the spin from the bunker. You can hit a better shot than you can from a coin flip of a lie in the rough. I do find the hand wringing very, very odd. I mean, Andy North, the beloved commentator on ESPN, won 2 U.S. Opens. He did not win another tour event. We weren't identifying the best player 50 years ago or 40 years ago. It's the guy who can survive the longest. And, last year it happened to be Bryson versus Rory, and it was outstanding theater, and it was amazing. But this year it was JJ Spaun outlasting a bunch of good players, And Sam Burns is, a Ryder Cupper, and he's on the cusp, if he wins a few more and gets in contention of a few more majors, of becoming an excellent player. But, a bunch of guys went out there who had world-class credentials and played their way out of the tournament early on, like a John Rahm, a Scotty Scheffler, and just couldn't do quite enough to get back in it, although they tried. And, I think Scotty still has a chance, according to the commentary. I think he still has a chance to win this week. And I wanted him to win. I'm like you. I want the best players to win, because I love watching Steph Curry win NBA championships. I love watching Scotty or Bryson or whoever win major championships. Like, to me, that's sort of the fulfillment of what you expect. But the way it happened yesterday, I will admit, seeing J.J. Spaun two-putt was nowhere near the experience that it was seeing him make that putt.
It does change, right?
Oh, totally. It totally changes everything, I think. And the fact that he made it for 64 feet and 5 inches just kind of put the cherry on top of a win that nobody expected, of course, including himself. But it also provided amazing theater just for that one single moment. And I think you just need one moment at a huge event like the U.S. Open to make it extremely memorable. Have you seen the Tyrrell Hatton clip where he's giving an interview?
Yeah.
While it happens, and you see a bit of his personality come out, and I think that was awesome too. He's like, "Oh my God, that just happened. Am I sad the way I played? Yes, but look at just what happened. That's amazing. JJ, what a great, right? Like, they all can kind of put themselves in each other's shoes of that happening, and he was just as thrilled in his own way as everyone else was surrounding the green."
Brad Fritsch is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. I said at the beginning of the show, I'm a major championship snob. Unless I have a personal connection, I would never root against you. I rooted for you when you were, believe you were on the first page of the leaderboard as a Chambers Bay, right?
Yeah, I played for a while. I stuck around a little bit and then, made the cut. But it was that was another kind of a weird week where the USGA got blasted during and after. And gosh, it's a sport too,
right?
Bash the USGA, but they put on amazing events. I don't know what everyone complains about.
No, but I rooted for you then. But normally, if it were not you, I would not have rooted for you, because I want to see the Stars win. But JJ Spaun was, what he overcame just in the final round, bogeying 5 of his first 6 with the names that were still around. They weren't star names. Adam Scott was the only player really in the first page and a half of the leaderboard that had a major championship to his credit, and that was basically a dozen years ago. Sam Burns hasn't won one. Tyrrell Hatton hasn't won one. None of these guys had won one. There's a lot of good players. Spaun was the most recently close to winning one of those types of event when he lost to Rory McIlroy in a playoff at the Players' Championship. But man, the rain delay came at the right time for J.J. Spaun.
Yeah, just sort of like a timeout in hockey, or like you said, the end of a period in hockey. Just get it. You get it in, get it done, and then you have a break to kind of reset emotionally. Some guys might just completely fill up on whatever they need to in terms of food or drink. But mental reset is super important when you have those awful starts like J.J. Spaun did. And then you want there are a bunch of guys who I'm sure wanted to continue, who are playing just fine. And then after the delay, they went back out on the course, they just fell apart. And it was kind of crazy how many did fall apart. Now it's the U.S. Open. I get it. And there was something to be said, and they mentioned it on the broadcast, where ball's not going to fly as far anymore. The temperature drops a little.
Yep.
You've got rain still coming down, and there's a lot to say about how conditions change, and there's water on the club face, and of course there's the, casual water and not so casual water in the fairways. So there's a lot going on, a lot of variables, just besides I need to hit a good shot here. And so J.J. Spaun, persevered through it. His shot on 17 was obviously fantastic. One of the best 3 or 4 of the day, I think they said.
Yeah.
And then pipes it on 18, hits it on the green, and then obviously that miracle putt to win.
So Brad Fritsch is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. What was your take on the ruling that Sam Burns got or didn't get? I mean, got a ruling, but they didn't allow him to take a free drop from what he was hoping would be termed casual water. I guess it was on the 15th hole.
Yeah, so you kind of said what I'm going to say. Is that you've got two separate people who live and breathe the rules of golf. That's their thing. And they both came to the same conclusion. Obviously, Sam Burns wants a different result. If this was the PGA Tour, he might have gotten it. But then the people who are so upset that he didn't get the ruling would be super upset that they're not playing the ball down and playing as it lies, and these guys are so pampered. Like, it's the same thing every time, right? It's the same thing. People just want to yell. I just defer to the two people who know the rules of golf 1,000 times more than I do, and they came to the same conclusion. He hit a really poor shot from that lie, and again, missed it in the worst spot possible. And he was fully accountable after the round. I saw a really good clip of him just saying, you know, it is what it is at that point. I have to move on. I have to hit a better shot.
Right.
I wanted a different result from my question, but I definitely wanted a different result when all was said and done and I had to hit the ball. So, you know, in the moment you saw him striking the ground a few times, like, look at the water. But I think he knew that regardless of what happened, he still had to hit the shot. So I think he was more disappointed in his execution than the actual ruling.
Yeah, and it looked to me like he didn't move on from the ruling when he executed the shot because his reaction to the shot was more about the ruling. But at that point, I mean, that's on him. He could certainly have hit a better shot. I don't know if he should have gotten a different ruling or not, but he got the same ruling twice. So there is something about that. Final thing for Brad Fritsch. I don't know if you caught this, but Rory McIlroy, after his round on Saturday, did one of those flash interviews. He didn't do one after round one. He didn't do one after round two, but he did it after Saturday's round. And a lot of people are harping on Rory being frustrated with the media. But I heard something else in that interview that people have not picked up on that bothered me more and maybe says more about where Rory's head's at, in which they asked him about, was he, did he feel like he could carry momentum because he was 2 under over his last 15 holes on on Saturday, to go from whatever it was. I might be getting my days right. I think it was Friday. He got to 8 over, but then finished at 6 over. So it was on Friday. And he goes, well, it's easier to play when you don't care if you make the cut or not. And to me, that was more disturbing than being frustrated with the media.
Yeah, I think that just probably says more about where his head's at in the last month or so. I don't think, let's go back 6 months. I don't think he'd feel that way 6 months ago about any tournament, especially a major championship, not caring about being there on the weekend if he was not in contention. I just think that something has snowballed in his mind. He feels aggrieved somehow, and maybe it'll come out sooner rather than later, I hope, just because it makes people wonder and talk. And I think what happens a lot of the time is people, including maybe himself, equate online chatter to the media. X is not the media.
Right.
Twitter is not social media is not the media. And so unless, and this is what some people were asking, like, point me to the article that hurt you. Point me to where someone with a legitimate platform with readership has hurt you. And I don't recall seeing anything like that. The entire golf media swooned over him, and rightly so, 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's something in the works, insider stuff that we don't know about that will eventually come out. But I thought it was strange. I guess a certain part of me thinks that a media member could have kept it to himself about the driver at the PGA Championship. It's not necessary.
Right.
And without explaining it 100% all the way, people immediately go to, oh, so he was cheating. And it's absolutely not the case, right? Like, if you don't understand what the parameters are for drivers and how they can change over one shot, then you just don't get it. So that maybe that part of, the story is part of what he's feeling, but I can't imagine that's all. And so I'm a little confused in all honesty about what he's got, going on in his head. If we find out, great. If we don't, I don't think it's a huge deal, but the star of the game can't be this petulant all the time, so I hope it stops.
Yeah, I do too. It was not good to hear that Rory didn't care about being on the weekend. When, if you know anything about Oakmont, all you got to do is make the cut, and you had a chance. Brad Fritsch, I appreciate your time. Go Senators. I will talk to you very soon.
Hey, listen, you want to talk about Mitch Marner and someone who doesn't shoot the puck? You get people being paid to yell "shoot the puck" if he comes on the team. Who's going to shoot?
I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you.
Like, I like your list of things that wouldn't, necessarily be advantageous if they grab him, but they need shooters.
They do. Shooters.
Yeah.
Not passers. Brad, I appreciate your time, man. I'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Take care.